is it me? Or is there a bit of a lull at the moment? I mean, the sun is shining, the days are long, here in the UK anyway, and it seems as if everything's all right, that things are going back to normal. I mean, if you remember at the beginning of the year, there was all these things that were coming down the line that was suddenly announced. You know, there'd been Davos and those people who meet, those strange people who like to have private jets and have people who haven't had the medical intervention flying them in there in case, you know, such a terrible tragedy might happen if one of the pilots was to flop over and unfortunately cause an accident and kill all those incredibly important people at Davos, at that think tank, you know, the unelected ones who are billionaires who are trying to sort of create a one world government. Those people, those lovely, nice, kind, benevolent people who've obviously got their own best interests at heart and not ours. So maybe not as benevolent as I thought. But there was all that business coming out, wasn't there? Digital IDs, the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, the more sort of pushing us down to getting EV vehicles, all the business about the wind farms and the solar panels and how we had to have that because the planet is all burning up. We had all these directives coming at, oh yes, we're going to get rid of your stoves, your fire burning stoves, log burning stoves. You've got to have the heat pumps. You've got to do this. You're going to insulate the house. It's going to be so expensive to insulate your house, so that actually you'll have nothing and be happy. All of these directives were coming, and the sexualization of children going on in the schools in them. We had all of this, one thing after another, and we had, of course, the ULEZ problem with the cameras and the biometrics, and even now, if you go into the supermarket, poof, there you are, and there's the Aldi supermarket with its new cashless supermarket that you can't get into without a phone and an app, and it takes the money from your bank. You don't have to have cash, and all this using the old convenience thing. And we've been a bit up in arms, and we've been talking about it, and we've been exploring it, and people have been getting organised and ready, and resistant movements have been taking place, and grassroots movements have been sourcing organic food, and people are starting to grow food, and all sorts of things are set up. But at the same time as all of that, I don't know if it's me, but I feel like there's this little false sense of security, this lull. We've not seen anything big happen. We thought, for example, at least I thought, and a number of people were telling me, yeah, after the coronation, there's going to be something rather drastic. It's going to happen in May, and here we are, middle of June, and still nothing's happened, and we're sort of going, oh, maybe everything's all right. And the public, of course, are beginning to forget. They're all being tied up with the shenanigans of politics, which all doesn't really matter because it's all being pulled by strings by the masters from above, who are all controlled. So anyway, none of that's really relevant, but it's all a lovely distraction in the news, all the sort of hot gossip and stuff to keep people away from what's really going on. And I think there are things happening in the background that we need to be very, very concerned about and watch. I mean, one of the things is the cameras are going up, the biometrics are coming into the supermarket. My supermarket, I pointed out, has changed now, so much so that I feel, do you know what? I can't go there now. I cannot go there. The security consciousness of it's all in our favour, because, you know, all these old biddies that used to go in there with their Zimmer frames, there was absolutely war in the past when somebody wanted a piece of mackerel and oh no, I want that piece of mackerel, and then suddenly there was a massive fight. I'm exaggerating, of course, because in our supermarket here, none of that happened. Yes, occasionally if somebody would grab something and then rush out, and the one security, because they weren't paying very much, would have to dash out after them. And so that was it. But now there's masses of cameras, and every till has this sort of little screen on it, and you're being watched and scrutinized, just like the Martians used to do in H.G. Wells's The War of the Worlds, like looking down into the old Petri dish with their microscopes, watching us swarm and multiply. Oh yes, they're doing that in the supermarkets now, and of course in the streets and everywhere you go. And I think that this lull, it's a bit of a false lull, because things are going on in the background, and we must not forget that. I mean, one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, is this very bizarre story now that they're slowly drip, drip, drip feeding about aliens, about UFOs, about how in the past, you know, the American government were in conversation with aliens from another planet. They've had these craft and they're beginning. Now, whether any of that's true or not, it's the fact that they're dripping this out. All whistleblowers, left, right and centre coming up. Oh yes, we had aliens. I shook hands with them. I had a lovely meal with them. And all of this is going on now. We've got the technology. They've got the technology. We've reversed engineered it. It's all going on. I think what the reason for all of this is to slowly drip into the public's consciousness that aliens have been here, that we have had visitations, and that now they're getting angry with us for whatever reason, perhaps because of the man-made global warming. There'll be some stupid excuse, and that there is going to be an invasion or an attack or something like that. And it's been predicted that an aeroplane will probably be shot out of the sky, the satellites perhaps will be dismantled, there'll be a big disruption. And of course, this is an excuse for the governments of the day to say, oh no, oh blimey, we need to get everybody to go into their house, keep undercover, put the paper bag on your head, you'll be safer indoors, don't go outside because the aliens are coming to get you. And this will be the big scare story, the plan of which, of course, is to make people frightened, to make people isolated once again, and to herd them into an urban environment in which they can eventually be placed into a 15-minute ghetto, or shall we just say it, a prison. I mean, it's my opinion. It's my opinion. There's a lull, there's a dripping of information which is a bit mad. People are talking about these things as if it's almost every day. And then with massive theatre and special effects, I dare say there'll be some events that will make us go, oh my God, we're under an invasion from these aliens. We must be wary of all of this nonsense that's going to be coming down. We've seen it 3 years ago. We fell for it. Many people, unfortunately, had the medical intervention and now they're regretting that. People are beginning to understand that the world is not as it was, that this whole theatre has changed. People are, and I'm very excited, getting organised, growing their own food, sourcing organic food. With the start of this movement, they're beginning to get their kids out of school. They're using more cash. They realise that cash is a private transaction. They're not doing so much online. They've realised the dangers of the electromagnetic fields that come from Wi-Fi and their mobile phones. They know they're being listened to. They know that these things are tracking them wherever they go. They know that the convenience has been the entrapment that we've all felt ourselves in, and more people are beginning to get together physically and less online, in hubs, in groups, and organising themselves and pushing back, which is all absolutely brilliant. And we need more of that. We need more of that, bringing people in, getting themselves healthy, looking for alternative health methods rather than relying on those doctors that endorsed a certain medical intervention, which of course has been causing a lot of deaths, not only here but around the world, and yet the governments and the mainstream media won't talk about it. But they will feed in some weird wacky story about, yeah, we've had contact with aliens, and then when the time is right, maybe next year, I don't know, there'll be this massive story coming in, a big narrative of something. Alternatively, it will be, you know, maybe it's the bird flu thing, because we know that shipments of some sort of medication has been stored in warehouses ready to go. Maybe it'll be a combination of the both, that the UFOs are infecting the birds and the birds are getting and suddenly being turned and become killer birds. I don't know. There's going to be something. They haven't given up. And that's the thing. That's the thing that the general public need to remember, and as much as possible, that while we're in this lull of false security, things are going on. The infrastructure for the next struggle is happening. I firmly believe that. They're not just going to roll over and go, oh, well, it was a good attempt to wipe out the population with our medical intervention. Oh, well, never mind. These are very serious people, and they have a plan, and they've got to get it done because they have their own special agenda and their timetable. And it's going to happen. And we must not forget that this is a battle of wits. And we, though there are many of us, and that we will win, we have to remember and be alert. So whilst we're in this beautiful summery period and everything is all wonderful, we've got to be prepared. So I'm very thrilled that a lot of these organisations are getting together and they're doing all their sort of stuff and they're building that network, because when it comes, whatever it is, we mustn't be scared about it. We must see through the theatre of it. We must remember that we have to consent to whatever the options that they want to give us. And we can still say, actually, no, we don't consent. You're irrelevant. We don't want you. You're nothing to do with us. We've got ourselves reorganised. We are rising. We are resisting. We are having our own new future. And thank you very much. But you elites, you globalists, you billionaires, you people who've penalised us, who've entrapped us and created this nonsense, you guys are not part of the new world. So thank you and goodbye.